We have core values that have been established. We have a purpose that has been established. We have a mission. We have an each one teach one segment in our morning sessions. We have a hot seat in usually our morning sessions where we take feedback from a business owner and listen to a business owner talk about a problem and give feedback. We also have accountability partners. And so that's what I really like about WIN, the fact that our core values say we support and encourage each other in an environment that encourages growth and personally and professionally. I like the accountability partners because I can send my accountability partner a text and say, I'm having a bad day, or share with her when I'm having a really good day, or just reach out to her and say, how are you doing? And sometimes she will send me the funniest emojis and just make me laugh. So that is a good thing to have. And that's one of the things I really like about WIN.
Awesome. Thank you, Lillian. I'm just going to go over the core values real quickly. We support and encourage each other in an environment that encourages growth personally and professionally. We promote opportunities that support each other. We accept challenges because that is how we grow. And of course, we maintain confidentiality. We support, promote, and empower and recognize the business women of WIN. Kay is an independent certified health coach. Having arrived at this spot via a long and winding road, she will tell you without apology that her highest and best calling is being a mom of her two sons, now in their 20s. Kay is a recovering attorney, which always gives me a chuckle when I hear her say that. She has discovered her passion actually lies in the health industry and in coaching others to become the best version of themselves, starting with taking control of their physical health. She is a graduate of the University of Alabama and of Cumberland School of Law. Kay spent many years litigating, mediating family law cases, never feeling fulfilled. Her journey to become a health coach started with her seeking to take control of her own health. And when she did so, the call to help others to do the same was too strong to ignore. Kay believes that each person should own their life and that doing so is the key to self-awareness, growing and living your best life, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and financially. Can you all please help me welcome Kay Siniard?
Hey, you guys. Thank you for that.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for that nice introduction, Angela. And thank you for asking me to share and speak tonight at the networking. Yeah, so, what Angela told you is just really, I have become so passionate about health. You would think as an educated person that I would have realized a long time ago that I can control my health. But somehow I didn't realize how much control I could have over my health. And, we live in a world that is obesogenic, a world and a country that's obesogenic, and the obesity numbers are just off the charts. I mean, weight and health are pain points for many, many people. And about 2 years ago, well, close to 2.5 years ago now, I was helping my then 87-year-old mom recover from hip surgery and spent a lot of time in her home with her. My dad has been deceased for many years. And so I was sort of her help person. And watching her, she is an insulin-dependent diabetic and has been for 34 years. And she has taken very good care of her health, given that statistic right there. But she's been sedentary for a long time. And so her recovery took probably much longer than anticipated, 6 to 8 months. And it really got my attention because at that point in time, I was probably a good 30, 35 pounds overweight. And when I say overweight, I'm talking about, the BMI chart is kind of something we use for a guideline. And I'm 5'10". So at 5'10", there's a 35-pound range of what's healthy. So I was about 35 pounds over the top end of healthy on that BMI chart. So I made the decision. I thought, you know what? My mom is 30 years older than me, and here I am, almost 57 years old. And I don't know that I would recover any more quickly than she did, because she's not carrying extra weight. I was. And I had allowed myself to become quite sedentary. And so that's what really got my attention. I want to find a health plan that addresses my overall health. So I went on a search for that and found one and got on plan, kind of with the thought in mind of, you know what, this may not work either. But I'd done enough research and watching people, watching the person who turned out to be my coach, watching her sharing things on her social media and watching her kind of transform her body and her life. And so I started doing a little research into what she was doing. I called her and said, I want to do this because I have no idea how long I'm going to live. None of us do. But however long that is, I want to live. I want to feel great. I want to take control of my health. So she told me, I'm going to tell a little not very nice thing about myself. She said, oh my gosh, Kay, the plan is so great. She said, I feel like a different person, and it's written by a doctor. And I do have the ability to use discretion, not say everything that comes into mind right away. But in my mind, I thought, oh, and he probably got his degree in the Caribbean. So that was the skeptical lawyer in me taking that approach. But I gave her, my information to get me started on plan. And then I went and looked him up. And not only, his name is Dr. Wayne Anderson, not only did he not get his degree in the Caribbean, he graduated first in his med school class at the University of Florida. He did his residency at the Cleveland Clinic. And he had been the head of critical care for Grandview Medical Center for many years. And so I thought, okay, I'm glad I kept my mouth shut on that. So the more I researched into it, his history was so fascinating to me. And I've heard him speak numerous times now. And he said one thing that really hit me the first time I heard him speak was he said, in all the years I was practicing medicine, he's in his late 60s now, I guess. He said, in all the years I was practicing medicine, I always felt like the medical community had it all wrong. And it always bothered me. And he said, why did we wait for people to become ill or to become part of a disease process? And then our response was, let's throw medicine at it. Let's do a procedure. It was never, what can we do to get this person healthy? And so that, he said, that always bothered me. That troubled me because I knew as physicians and nurses, but particularly, physicians, we have the knowledge to teach people how to become healthy so that they hopefully don't become part of a disease process, at least not one of the ones that's preventable, like diabetes. And by that, I mean type 2, but diabetes, high blood pressure, there are certain things that are relatively preventable, not in every case, of course, but I was fascinated by his take on that. So about 20 years ago, he decided to actively leave medical community, active practice of medicine. And he started with this plan that I coached for, and that the plan that got me healthy. And listening to him talk this past week, he said, 20 years ago, I finally said, I can't do this anymore. He said, I'm spending many hours every day. And what I'm doing is preventing people from dying. I'm not doing anything to make people healthy. And he said, I just had enough because I believe that I had that ability. And he said, so I decided that I was going to get out. I was going to create a business that would teach people how to take control of their health, how to become the healthiest version of themselves, and hopefully prevent many of the disease processes that being unhealthy leads to. And I love his approach because he sees getting to a healthy weight is only the first step in your health journey. So he really is a leader in the movement for people to create optimal health. And, like I said, the first step is getting to a healthy weight, but there's so much more that goes into it. I mean, and I'm so thankful for the opportunity to speak with you tonight, because I think so many people don't ever stop and think, I never did. but don't ever stop and think, there's a lot of things I could be doing that could possibly improve my health, my energy, my life expectancy. Who knows what all it could improve. So you've got to look at all the elements of health. Weight is the first one. Be at a healthy weight. Another one is, staying well hydrated. Our bodies are predominantly water, and yet so many people go around dehydrated. Getting proper sleep, getting proper movement in your day, having a healthy mindset, having healthy finances. All of those things go into living an integrated life where you can be the best version of yourself. And, if you think about the people you love, I became real convicted of that. I have 2 sons in their 20s, as Angela mentioned. And I thought, you know what? I'm not doing anything to guarantee that I'm going to be here when they marry and have families and all that. And I would like to be, if possible. But really, I just, I was really had become very sloppy about my health habits. I'm now able to say, I used to laugh about this and make a joke about it, but I'm a sugar addict. And boy, sugar is, just an evil to our bodies, really. It has no nutritional value, as I'm sure you all know. But for somebody who's a sugar addict, I can take or leave a drink, a glass of wine. I can go months without having an alcoholic beverage. But boy, you let me have some sugar. And I don't stop. I didn't stop. So, I started on this path of figuring out what can I do to create health for myself. In my earlier years, back when I was growing up and all the way through law school, and really until my first child was born, people would say, oh, you're 5'10", you're so thin, you should model. And I was so thin. I went through a period of time when I used to cry because I couldn't gain weight. I ate everything under the sun and could not gain weight. And what I realized once my metabolism started changing, I had my first son and my habits changed. Well, all those years of eating anything and everything I wanted, really, I had looked good from the outside and looked thin and fit from the outside. But I had put so much just junk in my body. My eating habits were very, very junky. And so those were the habits I developed. And I got away with it for a long time because I was thin and I did have a high metabolism. But when all that shifted, then I was left with these very poor habits that I had established for myself. And that started me on the journey of 25 or 30 years of dieting. And I always tell clients when I'm talking to them, I challenge you to name a diet, a program, or a plan that I haven't tried, including, sadly, several years ago, prescription diet pills. I tried those for a short while. And, I always had success losing weight, but I never had any success staying at a healthy weight because I never did the work to change my mindset, to change my habits. And that's why I knew this time it had to be something very different. It had to be something that really restructured the approach that I take to health. And in the process of doing that, like I mentioned earlier, that's when I have realized, oh my goodness, I have so much control over my numbers, my health numbers, blood sugar, A1C, blood pressure, cholesterol, by controlling how I treat my body, what I put in my body, how much sleep I get, how much movement I get. And so it's been really, really fascinating to realize it's no longer acceptable to me to sit back and say, oh, well, I'm 59 now. When you turn 50, things just start changing. And it's just what happens as you age. And that simply does not have to be the truth. As long as we're alive and breathing, we're on a health journey. And your journey is either taking you closer to optimal health or taking you further away from it. But if I had not gotten to the point of saying, stop, this is enough, then at some point in my life, I might become a burden to the people that I love. Because when I didn't, not taking care of myself at some point may require somebody else to have to come in and care for me. And I thought, that's a pretty self-absorbed, self-centered approach. And it's kind of like what they tell you when you're on an airplane and they're giving you the little spiel up front and they say, should the oxygen mask drop during your flight, please make sure to secure your oxygen mask first before helping anyone else, including your children. There's a reason for that. If you're not well, if you're not breathing, you sure can't be of any assistance to anyone else. And that carries over to health too. If I'm not taking care of my own health, how am I going to be able to care for the people I love and who love me? I mean, it's not like I got to a healthy weight and I've made a lot of changes in my health habits and whew, I'm done. You're not done. You're not done. You're never done until you're no longer drawing a breath. So it's so critically important to not just get to a healthy weight, but to instill the habits long enough that they do become habits of taking care of your health and taking care of every aspect of your health by focusing on my health habits, by focusing on what I was putting in my body, how much sleep I'm getting, because that's something else I've learned, all the inflammation in our bodies, it's not just from what we eat. There's so many factors that go into inflammation in your body. And sleep, not enough sleep is one of them. Stress is one of them. What you eat is one of them. But, there's just a lot you can do to have significant control over your health. And so that's been kind of the biggest eye opener to me is, if I have this control at my disposal, why in the world would I not step up to the plate and take that control? And, never really battle with my weight again, never really battle with my health again with the things that are within my control. Of course, there are illnesses and diseases that aren't within your control. And those, because they're not in our control, we can't do a thing about. But if you have the opportunity to take charge of the things you can control, a lot of us are in that age range that growing up, there was some slogan that said, you are what you eat. But, we really and truly are what we eat, garbage in, garbage out. And healthful choices in, and you have much, much, much better results in the category of your health. And when you start thinking about how much your health affects and how many people your health affects, your what type of work you do, I mean, your health permeates every area of your life. You're either gonna pay for your health and make time for your health now, or you're going to pay for your illness later by being on medications, possibly going through surgeries or procedures, spending time in doctor's offices, spending time just feeling poorly. And so, you pay for it one way or the other. And so I just decided, I think I'd much rather pay for it now on this end of things, getting in control of it, really learning as much as I can, absorbing as much as I can about how do I best preserve and enrich and improve my health. Because how we feel about ourselves completely impacts how we interact with other people, how we carry ourselves, the confidence we have in ourselves. But I think the greatest compliment that I hear from people, or the greatest comment is, I don't know what you're doing, but you're kind of glowing. And, everybody, that glow is there because I'm fueling my body properly. I've learned to eat to live, not live to eat. I've learned that the purpose of eating is to give my body the fuel it needs to function at its very highest level. And that really eating and hunger really don't have a whole lot to do with each other. We act like they do. We think they do. We wait till we're starving and then we gorge on food. But if you're really fueling your body properly, you really don't ever get hungry. Maybe a tad, but if you do, then hey, it's time to fuel. And it has been the biggest blessing for me to learn and to understand that, yes, I can step in, I can take control, and I can determine how I want to live that live all the parts of my life, but I can determine how I want to feel every day. Do I want to be lethargic and sluggish because I've dumped a bunch of sugar in my body or a bunch of carbs in my body? No. And, but do I want to control how many carbs I eat and how much protein I eat and getting all my water in and feel like $1,000,000? Absolutely. So that's kind of, I'm like I said, I'm on this mission to just help people understand that you do have, to a large extent, the ability to really step in and determine how you're going to live out the rest of your life from a health standpoint. And when you're healthy, it impacts every area of your life. It just really does. And so I just decided I don't want to be one of the statistics anymore of this obesogenic world that we live in. I want to be one of the people who is, really helping people identify with that control that they can take over their own health, and then pass that down to their children, pass it to their family members, be a role model for health. Learn how to get rid of the old habits and replace them with new, better habits. You're going to battle your health the rest of your life, and you don't have to. And that's really what I want people to know. That's a choice you're making, that you don't have to make that choice. You can choose to step up to the plate and create a whole new health profile for yourself.
I guess it's time for our door prize, right? I'm going to put your names in a little basket. Win members are part of the link tree that I put in there. So the ones that aren't here with us today, you can still connect with, because if you click on that link in the chat, it's going to show you our current membership. Drum roll, please. Not looking. And our winner is Mandy. Look at that.
Right. That's exciting. Thank you.